Right, I'm gonna attempt to do a video about racism generically, and I'm looking at you, you fucking racist bastards. No, sorry. Yeah, I'm gonna do a video about racism, just like an overview, opinions of, etc, etc. So, I'll start by playing the race card. I am half Pakistani / Afghanistani and half white. I've experienced the schisms of the races, and it's not too bad, to be honest. I've also seen a lot of white people who experience racism and a prevailing ideology that you can't be racist towards white people, which is just, well, incorrect entirely. So I'll start off with some regularities of racism, how it's benefited me and how it hasn't benefited me. So for a lot of my life, I had an English name. I actually have a Pakistani name as my first name, and I basically look white for all intents and purposes. I don't know if I look white right now, but for most of my life I haven't had a monobrow and a beard, and I generally have paler skin than this. But I think I look, I don't know, I'm not actually sure. I don't have a fucking clue what I look like. Probably just look like a bloody caveman at the moment. But anyways, so I didn't experience that much racism in school as such. In fact, I can't really remember any racist incidents in school. I remember people saying racist stuff and anti-Paki stuff, which upset me, but never anything directed towards me. The racist moments that I've faced are generally like, no one's ever really well, actually, two people have been racist to me extremely explicitly, come up to me and stated that they're white nationalists and that we're the scum of the earth and essentially an inferior race. Two people have said that to me in my entire life out of all the people I've ever met, and called me a Paki cunt for no reason, just out of the middle of the street, which shocked me, but I'm okay with, because it was so crazy and intense that it was kind of enjoyable, and I knew they weren't going to do anything, so why do I give a fuck? Experienced racism before, when I used to have skinhead hair and no beard and I looked white and wore a suit. I remember going past the British National Party in town centre and them trying to recruit me, and I looked the guy in the eyes and said my first name's a Paki name, and the look on his face, he just kind of melted away. I felt like I was having an orgasm. It was an amazing experience, but kind of weird how they assume because I'm a white looking skinhead that I'm not half caste and that I'd be interested in joining them. Like, strange assumption, strange that they claim to be like racially superior or have deep understanding of race, yet the guy on the stand couldn't identify my racial features from my nose and, you know, like changes in cheekbones and stuff. He didn't actually notice. I had another more serious incident of racism when I was a skinhead white looking guy. I went into a loyalist pub in my hometown, which has some soft racists in and maybe some hard racists from time to time, but it's mainly just football hooligans who actually aren't usually that racist or not directly racist. They're just football hooligan lout types. You know, good for them. And I was getting drinks with this guy. I brought this Pakistani guy from Leeds into this pub with me. I met him at the bus stop. He had nothing to do. I had nothing to do. I was about 18, 19 at the time. You know, we're both young lads. We're like, well, let's go to a pub. Let's have a few games of pool. Let's get pissed. I walked into the pub and, you know, I see all these white people clocking us, and I'm like, and I could tell some of them were white racist the way they were clocking us. And I came in after a few minutes. I sounded racist, white people clocking us. Kind of was, sorry. Didn't mean it that way. But yeah, I saw this clearly racist guy who came up to us. He shook my hand and he said, you're brilliant, son. You're a much better man than he'll ever be. He can never be as good as you. And then he shook the other guy's hand and he said, "Yeah, yeah, how you doing then?" And I'm kind of thinking to myself, like, this guy's really racist. Like, immediately he was trying to point out that, you know, I'm better than him, and I'm like, okay, I'll shake it off. And then he shook my hand again and said, you're a good type. You were born that way, you know what I mean? You really are who you are. He could never be as good as you. And then started shaking my hand. The other guy put his hand out to shake this other man's hand, and he refused the second time. He refused and looked away from him, and I'm like, alright, that guy definitely thinks I'm a white skin and definitely is racist. I'm trying to sort of tell this Pakistani geezer, and he just wants drinks, like, he just doesn't understand. The guy buys us drinks. He buys the Pakistani bloke triple vodka, and he buys me a single. I'm like, I'm not sure what's going on here. We have a few games of pool. This guy buys him another few triples, and this Pakistani lad's fucked. He's wobbling all over the place, and I'm like, we need to get out of here. This guy's gonna get his ass beat. Go up to the Pakistani guy and say, look, we should get out of here, man. This isn't a good crowd. I went into the toilets, and there's like Paki hatred, white pride stuff written on the toilet cubicles. I'm like, holy fuck, I'm in the wrong place, but I look like I'm in the right place. Holy shit. Didn't think much to it. Just thought, alright, I'll try and get this geezer out. Then this geezer gives me the same speech about that. Speech about white nationals, and I'm pretending to be white because this is a fucking tense situation, right? I understand that essentially this guy could be fucked, like really fucked up, and I can be fucked up if I let it slip. He gives me this weird speech about white nationalism and about how we're better, and I just agree. I just nod and agree because I'm trying to get this motherfucker out of here. He says I should you know, show him the superiority in that, and yeah, basically pulls me over and says we should do what we can. Now he's with his wife at the time, and I said, you know, assuming he's sexist, and he was, strangely enough. I said, you know, the wife don't want to see this. I'll take care of this boy. He's fucked. He won't do anything. Why do you think I took him in the pub? Quite evilly, and it sounded like honest intent. The guy took me in the aside, and he said, I like the way you think. I'll take my wife through. Pass me a pool cue, and basically I put the pool cue to the side. I stayed in a position where if he came in suddenly, it'd look like I was about to smash him with a pool cue. I picked this Asian guy up and said, we need to leave now, and he's like, and I'm like, no, we're fucking leaving. Pulled this guy out of the fucking bar with me. There's like, we're in like a gardens part of the bar, so there's a main bar and there's these smoking gardens at the back. Sorry, I didn't really describe it very well. So yeah, we're in the smoking gardens. I pulled him out of the fucking smoking gardens, started running with him, and he's like just not able to run properly, fucked up. He sees me when he falls over and he's like, hey, don't get away from me. He starts running after me, and I'm like, thank fuck we're out of here. Get about 500-600 metres out of there. Never see the geezer again in my life. Never see the Pakistani geezer or that white nationalist geezer. But yeah, that was pretty nasty. Yeah, that was pretty scary. And there were a few other people in that pub who shared his beliefs. I think if I'd have told them who I was from the start, I'd have got done in or fucked over with alcohol. Or if I didn't and I wasn't there, I think this other bloke from Leeds, he would have got fucking done over. That was not even scary. It was more upsetting than it was scary. I had moments where, like, I've told people I'm Pakistani and they decided not to be my friend anymore. That's, you know, upsetting, but it is what it is. And I've had also moments where I thought people were being racist. There's an old friend of mine who used to go to primary school with me. He's actually dead now, so I'll credit who he is, because ode to the dead. He was a good guy. I'm not just saying that because he's dead and, you know, people say nice things about the dead. He was actually a nice guy while I was around. It's pretty upsetting that he died. So yeah, this friend of mine, Jason Raper, he died in I think he was pulled under the water in some kind of extreme sports canoeing thing. He was a really nice guy. He was actually he was really good to me in primary school. Whenever like people were being dickheads to me, no one really bullied me, but people were dickheads to me, he'd pull me aside every now and then and say, you can't let him be like that. And he backed me up and stuff. He was actually a genuinely nice kid. Anyway, I distracted. He came up to me in town one day while we were on a night out, and he came up to me. He said my name, and he said, you're that Packy friend of mine in primary school." And I'm like, oh shit, he said the word Packy, fuck. Because usually, from like a white person that you don't know extremely well, no offence to you, it's generally a racial slur. And he's like, oh, come have a drink, man, you know, you're all welcome. I'm like, still a bit confused, like, oh, okay. And then he comes up and introduces me as Packy, as a Packy guy, and says this, that and the other, and everyone's completely cool with me. And he turns around and says, yeah, don't worry about it. A lot of people don't like that type of person, but you're a good lad, and I don't see why people are upset about it. Sounds racist because he said that type, but actually what he was saying, in his way, when I analyse it now, is I'm going to acknowledge you as being Pakistani so people know you're different, and I'm going to show them it's okay, and I'm okay with you. So actually what he was doing wasn't racism, it was actually the opposite. It was like acceptance. It just came across in a very strange form because you're just not used to it. So that was quite nice. Experienced it at work a lot. People just call me a terrorist. Apparently it's cool to call people terrorists. They think it's funny to try and feed non-Islamic like Arabic people bacon as well. Apparently that's hilarious. Apparently Allah wouldn't be pleased. That's kind of true, but very, very racist stuff. Remember having like sometimes when I was working like black friends, Filipino friends, and we'd like do reverse racism by making people who were racist. We wouldn't do it to like non-ethnics who were good to us. We wouldn't do it around those kind of people, but we basically like come up to each other and be like, hey, what's up, my nigga, you got any fucking bombs strapped to you? And it's just like, because they're conservative and because they're not used to that language, they look at me like, oh shit, this is embarrassing. What do we say? We'll be accused of being openly racist if we say anything. And it's like, yeah, fuck you, you are uncomfortable. Because the truth is, if you're on a good level with us, you just say the same shit to us because you know that shit doesn't matter to us and we're good friends. So get fucked. So that's what we did to kind of reverse the effects. In my opinion then, racism is a horrible thing. In the UK, it's not really that prevalent. In the last 5 or so years, it's pretty much been destroyed. In terms of skin colour, in terms of ideologies, people hate Muslims here a lot. Not sure why. Similar sort of thing in a lot of Western countries at the moment. In countries like America and Australia, it seems to be a lot worse. They've got like all black and all Jewish ghettos and stuff. I know in Australia, speaking to a lot of my Aboriginal friends out there, and people who are Aboriginal I met, who, by the way, Aboriginal covers a lot of different tribes. It's just an overview term for people in these different tribes. Essentially were forced into all Aboriginal ghettos and yeah, just had bad shit happen to them. Anyways, I've waffled on for quite a bit about racism. Clearly it's something close to my heart, or something I've got some horrible issues with. But yeah, I hope you enjoyed my little video on racism, and keep the acceptance, or don't, you know, you're entitled to your opinions. Enjoy.